live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today is the weekly picks episode for this week. College football week 6, NFL week 5. We're at a quarter of the season already. Everybody's played 4 games. This starts the bye weeks today. We have a few teams on bye for the NFL, but it's all right because that means less picks, and that means I could talk a little bit more. No, I'm joking. I know you guys don't like hearing me, ramble too much, but we are going to start with college football week 6 first. I'm mixing up the NFL and college weeks. This is college football week 6. I didn't love a lot of particular lines this week because it's not the best slate interesting as opposed to last week where there was some action that I liked. I do have about 5 games I will pick today, because I like to have it with an odd record. That way, if I'm at 500 or not. So let's do college football week 6 picks. We've got 5 games to go through. I'm going to pull up the lines as we are picking. And this will be something that I think I'm going to start doing recurringly. Is like I have the lines in front of me and I pick it as I go. So I'm trying to see if I can get to the lines here. Sometimes this acts up for me. I don't know why. But I'm going to start off with Texas against Florida. Both quarterbacks, Arch Manning and DJ Lagway, are struggling heading into this matchup. And I still think, in all honesty, Texas wins 30-10. I think Texas has the best defense that will give Lagway a lot of trouble. I do think Arch Manning, this is a very good get-right game for him. And I think that when I look at this game, as I'm pulling up the line real quick, Texas is favored by 7. The over and under is listed at 42.5. I'm not touching the line so much or money line in this game. The only thing I will say to you is Texas does have Oklahoma coming up without John Mateer, so that's a big role. I do think that is something where I could see you trying to. I mean, it's not strong to play Florida. I just don't think they're worth getting 7 to give Texas a run. The only reason I think you do that is if you don't feel like Arch Manning's that good. I personally would just not bet the spread or the total in this game. I'm staying away, but I'm going to go Texas 30-10 over Florida just because I just trust Sark and Arch Manning over DJ Lagway, who's had a horrible start to the season, and Billy Napier, who I feel like Florida, if they get blown out bad again, how much more do you take of Billy Napier, and does he even try to make it through, not even halfway? Like, that's the worry I think I have for Florida, and I just feel like that Texas is just going to whoop them on the line of scrimmage, and this is a good game where I think Texas looks like, okay, we have an offense, Arch has settled down a little bit, and we can get on and roll. And they've been a pretty solid, they haven't blown out teams like the Texas El Pasos and the Sam Houston States I think they played. But they've handled business. Maybe not the way people thought they would. But again, in the swamp, it is a 3:30 game. I do think that Arch Manning, this is a big road environment since Ohio State. I think he'll respond much better. I like Texas to win 30-10. Let's move on to Alabama and Vanderbilt, which is actually the next game I have right on my screen. Bama's favored by 10.5. Over and under is listed at 55.5. Woo! The only real strong play I like this whole week. Over Bama Vandy. my favorite play of college football. This is probably like the only thing I like. I think somehow, some way, both teams are going to score. I'm not completely bought into Alabama's defense yet. I mean, Florida State ran the ball on them week 1. They've gotten better, yes, but they did give up 21 to Georgia. They did. Vandy can score. Granted, they haven't played the competition like in Alabama yet, so this is their first big real test. Although Diego Pavia, he's been good, but he had a lot to say after Vandy upset Bama last year. And now you go to Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium, where they remember that shit you said. As bad as I want Bama to lose, and I need the Bama bandwagons to shut the fuck up because I can't stand them. I have to take Bama to win. I think Bama wins 34-27. I just do not see Vanderbilt winning back-to-back against Alabama. I feel like it's the same movie, different season if this happens again. And then this really puts Bama in trouble with the SEC as far as trying to make a push for the playoff. I just think Vanderbilt's going to score. But do you trust Diego Pavia to make the big throws over Ty Simpson, who is just rolling right now since week 1? I don't. And I know people are going to say, well, Vandy upset them last year, Rich. Vandy's much better too. Yeah, but you're going to Bama this time. And Bama remembers when they talked a bunch after that game, and I'm saying, I don't think Vandy's going to do it again. And if they do, well, I'm wrong, and I'll be like, great, I control Bama bandwagons. I don't expect it, so I got Alabama winning 34-27. I do think take the over. I do think points will be scored in this game, so I like Vandy Bama over, and I think Bama wins by a touchdown. Notre Dame, Boise State, which is also another game I have on my screen here. Notre Dame is favored by 21 points at home to Boise State. Over and under is listed at 42.5. No, not 42.5. I'm sorry, my eyes are horrible. 62.5. That makes more sense. I was going to say, first line did not make sense. 62.5 is the over and under. That makes more sense. 21, though, against Boise. And I know Boise got smoked by South Florida. I know Notre Dame's offense is doing, like, they could score. Their defense has struggled. I do think, though, this spread is a little high. Like, 21? They do know that Notre Dame is 2-2, right? They do know that. That's a lot. I mean, me personally, I would take Boise with 21 to be interesting. I just feel like this is way too much of a spread. So Vegas is saying to me, Boise's on the level of an Arkansas level bad in the SEC. I don't think that. I think Boise's all right, but they're not Arkansas bad. No. You know what? I'll add this because I didn't have this in my notes. I have Boise getting 21. I'm going to take that. That's a lot. It's a lot of wood. I'm not saying Notre Dame's not going to win, but 21? Come on, that's ridiculously high. I actually have Notre Dame 38-27 over Boise. I have it just under the total. I mean, again, I just feel like, I wouldn't touch the total, but I think Boise getting 21. That's a lot. I mean, Notre Dame's a good team, but 21-point favorites at home? Boise must be bad, but I don't think they're that bad. No way. Boise, give me the 21 with them, and I'm saying 38-27 Notre Dame. I think C.J. Carr has gotten better since the first 2 weeks. I think Notre Dame can score. My worry with them is, are they going to get consistent stops on defense? And I don't know if they're going to as much. That's why I'm like, is 21 really that big of a number that's accurate? I'm going to say no, but again, maybe there's a big injury to Boise that I don't know about. Maybe that's the reason that this line is so high. I don't think it makes sense. But again, I'm not really the best expert with this, but I'm just saying, look, this is what interests me. I would take Boise with 21, and I'm saying if the over comes down a little bit, maybe 60.5, I'd take the points. I would take the over, but it's not 62.5. I'm going to stay put. So Notre Dame beats Boise 38-27. Louisville and Virginia. Now, this game, I think, is Wow, this is right at the total. Louisville is favored by 6.5 at home. Over and under is listed at 61.5. All right. Virginia's coming off a big win. All right. Louisville, yes, they struggled with Pitt a little bit. They pulled away. Part of me is interested in taking Virginia with the 6.5, but again, I did that with fucking UCF last week, and they let me down. So I'm staying away from that. Okay? I do think the total could go over. I'm tempted to take the over in this game. I have it, though, funny as this is, I have it 31-30. Louisville wins by 1 over Virginia. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. If it was 60.5, I'm like, over. It's 1 point off. Oh, my God. I think Louisville's going to be able to score on Virginia. I think Virginia's going to score too. You know what? It's 1 fucking point. You guys are going to be like, Rich, come on, bet the over or under. Fuck it. Over in the Virginia-Louisville game. That's 3. Okay, that's what we're going to do. I'm not doing it with Notre Dame-Boise, although that's tempting. But I don't know. I feel like that line smells. Virginia-Louisville, I would bet the over more so in this game. I think both teams are going to score, and I really think Virginia really impressed me, beating Florida State on the road. Now they get they get a week off. Now they got to travel to Louisville. I'm curious how emotions are going to play a role, but I think both offenses will score. I like Louisville to win by 1 point, 31-30. I think both teams will score. I'm not going to touch Washington, Maryland. I do think that it could be an over, but I don't love it because Washington's traveling all the way across country to Maryland. I don't like that, so I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going through the late slate. Nothing really jumps out. I'm not going to bet Michigan State, Nebraska. I'm not going to do that. I don't have any interest in it. Texas Tech, Houston. I do not like anything. Okay, the game of the weekend, though. Miami travels to Florida State to take on the Seminoles. Now, Florida State is coming off a heartbreaking double overtime loss last Friday to Virginia. Miami has a week off. They're looking like, oh, we could beat these guys. And Miami's favored by 4.5 in Florida State. Over and under is listed at 53.5. Yes, and this time my eyes are not playing with me. Another one where I have it right at the fucking total. I like Miami to beat Florida State. I do. I think that, yes, Florida State's better. I know they had a bad loss to Virginia, but I think it was bad timing. And I think that Miami's looking at that going, yeah, we could put up 28. It wouldn't shock me if they put up 30 plus. Florida State looks like they are improving. Yes, better than what they were last year, but Miami, different animal up front with their defensive line. I think that's going to give Castellanos problems. If they can stop Florida State's run game and make Castellanos one-dimensional, I think they have a really good chance to win. And I think that offense, Miami, they had the Florida game where they started slow, and then they kind of got in rhythm late and pulled away. I do think Miami will be in a better rhythm. I just think, again, will Cristobal make a game-choking play, meaning where does he have a clock management gaffe like he did against Georgia Tech a few years back, I want to say. I don't expect it, but again, that's always on the table when it comes to him. So I'm taking Miami 28-24. I'm not going to touch spread. If Miami was down to 4, I'd probably take the 4 with Miami. Where I would lay the 4 with Miami, actually. 28-24, Miami beats FSU, and I think Miami cruises their way, continues to make a push for number 2. Although, after Oregon's win at Penn State, I still think they remain 3, win or lose. But no, actually, if they lose, they're not going to be number 3. If they win, they'll stay at 3. But I've got Miami beating Florida State 28-24. Nothing else in that game I'm touching as far as lines-wise. Mississippi State A&M, I'd probably lean the over. I don't love anything in that game other than the over. 15.5 in A&M, no, I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to leave the spread alone. I would probably take a shot at the over, but I don't love it. It's something I would play around with because I think A&M has a vertical game that I think will be able to score. Mississippi State's been scoring under Levy. They scored a lot with Tennessee. And if Notre Dame put up points on A&M, I can imagine Mississippi State putting up some points. But again, I don't love the over. I'd lean it. That's just me. But again, that's what I would do. I'm going through the card one more time to see if anything I missed. And I'm going to say I didn't miss much. No, I'm not touching Penn State, UCLA. Kansas State, Baylor, no touch. Clemson, North Carolina, no. Illinois, Purdue, nah, I'm not going to do anything there. Wisconsin, Michigan, absolutely no touch for me. Do not like anything. So, yeah, we're going to stay away from this week. So, really strong plays over in Vandy, Alabama, over in Virginia, Louisville. And I'm going to say, if you want to take a stab at Mississippi State, Texas A&M, you could. But the really two strong plays, over in Virginia, Louisville, and the over in Vandy, Alabama. That's the only two I really like as far as guarantees. Now, let's go to the NFL Week 5. More of the stuff I like. Although this is a hard week to find stuff to like. You'll know why when we get into Survivor. But let's go through picks. Tonight, the 49ers play the Los Angeles Rams tonight. Now, a lot of injuries on the Niners side. Purdy's out. Two top receivers, Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, out. Mind you, George Kittle is still out. Okay? Nick Bosa's been done for the year. Okay? The Niners are banged up. So, that's why the Rams are favored by 8.5. For those of you interested in why is the line so high in the Rams' favor. Well, that's why. So, the Rams are favored by 8.5 because of the Niners' injuries. Over and under is listed at 43.5. If you really, really want to take the Rams for Survivor this week, I wouldn't blame you. I would advise you this, though. If you really like them, okay. I wouldn't do it just out of desperation and you need somebody to pick. I think there's better choices. But I like the Rams this week. Not for Survivor, but to win the game. They're not my top choice. We'll get to that in the Survivor picks. But I'm saying for those that are looking for an immediate Survivor pick, don't do it. Not this game. If you want to pick the Rams, okay, that's you. But we'll save that for Survivor picks. As far as the game goes, I'm not touching the spread or the total. I like the Rams to win 23-13. I think the only reason I'm saying it's going to be that low scoring is because Shanahan does give McVay problems. Although last year I feel like Sean McVay found something against the Niners that helped him. Granted, it was a different season, different teams, right? I do think the Rams should handle business. Stafford's been on a tear through 4 games. Puka's got 500 yards in 4 games. That dude's on pace for 2,000 yards. Yeah, it's insane. I do think, though, he'll get his total. I don't think he'll get historic great. But I do think the Niners will have to contain Nakua. I think that they will find a way. Salah, I think, will find a way to slow him down a little bit. I do have Devontae Adams in fantasy, so I need him to go off for me or get at least a really solid game. Kyron, I think, could get a touchdown, although that is tough with that defense up front in the middle. But I would say Kyron Williams is a good touchdown if you want an anytime touchdown prop. I like the Rams 23-13. I just feel like Mac Jones is not good enough to beat this team. McVay and company, they're one of my favorite picks in the NFC to make a really strong push. And I think the Rams are cooking with gas. And I feel like that, you know what? I'm not betting against Sean McVay after slow starts. But this time they're starting off strong. I like the Rams 23-13. Give me the Rams. All right, now let's go into Sunday's games. The Vikings now go to London to take on the Cleveland Browns. They are 4.5-point favorites. The over and under is listed at 36.5. That's a low total. Dylan Gabriel is starting at quarterback for the Browns. So, this is where I say London weird shit fucking happens. Okay? So, you've got Wentz versus Dylan Gabriel. The Vikings should cause havoc for this Browns offensive line. They should. I wouldn't be shocked if the Vikings won. Although I will say, how are the Vikings going to block Myles Garrett and Mason Graham? That defensive line's a problem too. So, and because I think weird shit happens in London, am I crazy to take the Browns plus 4.5? Am I crazy to? I am just... Jim Schwartz is still a good defensive coordinator. if he's still the coordinator at Cleveland. If he's not, I'm wrong. Sorry, guys. I just feel like, are we that convinced that the Vikings will carve up the Browns on defense? I know they got Jefferson and Addison, which that can give a great quarterback, a good quarterback a chance to make himself look good. But Cleveland's defense, they did give Green Bay trouble. They were in Detroit, got blown out. In Baltimore, they got blown out. They even played tough against the Bengals, but I just think they have games where they'll play close. I'm going to take the Browns, plus 4.5. Not a guarantee, but I think the Browns can beat the Vikings. I do. I think Wentz, again, the Steelers made him look, And I think Cleveland, I'm not saying Cleveland is a lock to win. No. But Dylan Gabriel, Jake Browning looked awful behind that, against that Vikings defense. Which I say, this is like a coin flip game. But, I don't know, Cleveland's defensive front might give the Vikings problems. This is a game where, if there was a total sacks prop, I'm curious if there was. I would probably take the over because I think both teams are going to get to each other's quarterbacks and it's going to be hell. It's going to be who's going to protect them more. I'm going to take Cleveland by a point. 17-16, Browns beat the Vikings. This is a weird game to figure out. This is like a coin flip game. I don't know why it's 4.5. I understand why. But I am not sold on Wentz to do what he's got to do. This defense is legit, though. Give me the Browns 17-16. All right. Now, I'm going to skip a little bit. I'm actually going to swap these two games because I have it here. The Giants travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Now, this opened up. Giants were the favorite in Saints. Now, money swung. Saints are now a 1.5 favorite at home against the Giants. All right. Now, this is where I think the smart money came in early. Everybody's making a big deal about, Jackson Dart looked really good against the Saints. Against the Chargers. Saints look awful. They're 0-4. They are due to win a game, though, guys. Is this the week? Early in the week, I was saying, I think a lot of people are drinking the Kool-Aid on Jackson Dart. And yes, he did look good. It was the Chargers, but the Saints are due. They, again, as bad as they've been, they've played the Cardinals tough. They hung with Buffalo till late in the fourth quarter. Surprising. And they played the Niners tough too. So I say, is this their first win spot? It's certainly a good chance. I almost took the Saints. But I'm going to take the kid again. I like the Giants. And you guys are like, really? Well, Jackson Dart, this was the game I thought he should have started originally. And yeah, he looked good against the Chargers, but I don't know why. I feel like the Giants defense is going to give New Orleans problems because if they just take away Kamara and let Rattler beat him, I don't think the Giants are scared of Rattler. I don't. I think the Giants win. I think this is a game where Jackson Dart actually looks good. Now, Neighbors is hurt. I think that played a big role in the line switching, which I would say that does give the Saints a little bit of an edge because who is Jackson Dart's go-to guy? Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. Are one of them going to have a big game? I don't know if they're going to have a crazy game. Scatterboo, is he going to run wild on the Saints? I don't know. But I feel like the Giants have more playmakers I trust than the Saints do. Now, it comes down to that Giants defense. Are they going to cause problems up front with that front four? I think so. Is their back end going to be able to cover guys like Shaheed and Olave? I would hope so. I got the Giants 24-16. I trust Dart and Dayball more than Kellen Moore and Spencer Rattler. And I think the Giants back end can hold up against those receivers. And I think that the Giants will find a way to make something happen with one of their playmakers. Raiders travel to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Colts are favored by 7. Over and unders listed at 47.5. I like the over in this game. I think that both the Colts and the Raiders will score. Raiders' offensive line sucks. Colts have been putting up 20 points a game. The Raiders, weirdly enough, I don't know what Geno I'm getting. But can I get enough for a total? I sure hope so. I think the Colts win 31-23 over Vegas. I think Vegas has problems. Through the air, Caleb Williams did pretty solid. Odunze actually caught a touchdown for me, which helped in fantasy. Daniel Jones and company, I think they got really good receivers. Jonathan Taylor's been able to run the ball pretty effectively. I don't know how the Raiders are going to be able to handle the Colts offense. And I don't know how they're going to be able to block the Colts if they can't block for Genti, although Genti did have a really monster game against the Bears. Do you trust him to have back-to-back monster games with the Colts? I don't. Gino, I just hope the only thing he can do for me is Brock Bowers do something in fantasy. If not, well, then Brock Bowers might be in trouble of getting benched, which I never thought because I spent a pretty early pick on him in fantasy, and he's done not so good since game one. I do think both teams will score, and I like the Colts to win 31-23 over Vegas. I think they have all cylinders going on offense. They came off a tough loss. I'm just hoping they can win this week, and they can get going to 4-1, and I think they have the goods to do it. 31-23, Colts over the Raiders. Now, this is another one I'm going to swap with here, okay? We're going to the Cowboys and the Jets. So the Jets are getting 2.5 points at home against the Cowboys. So Cowboys are favored in MetLife. Over and under is listed at 47.5. I know the Jets are bad. They're undisciplined. They're 0-4. And I know it's a short week. But Dallas played a long game Sunday. They could score. But the Jets have gotten to 20 points in, I want to make sure I have this right, 4 straight games. Why is the total so, not low, but I would take the over. Dallas is the best offense, but the worst defense. The Jets have scored 20 points in 4 straight games. Why is this at 47.5? I don't know. I think the Jets can score. And I think this is going over. And the kicker for this, ready? And I got people watching that are Cowboy fans here. You remember last time the Jets were 0-4 in MetLife? What happened? The Jets won with Adam Gase and Sam Darnold. Now you've got Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn. 0-4. Dallas travels to MetLife. And you know what I think? Deja vu strikes again. Give me the 2.5 with the Jets. Don't ask me why. You got to pick upsets, and everybody complains Rich doesn't take upsets. I'm taking the Jets to beat the Cowboys. Because I think Dallas is like, oh, we had this big game with Green Bay. We wanted to see, okay, Micah Parsons, let's get this out of the way. Yeah, Dak is good. CeeDee Lamb's still out. Yeah, Pickens and Jalen Tolbert look good. Ferguson was all right. Their running game, okay. But the Jets can score now. And the Jets did this 6 years ago? Yeah, 6 years ago. And Justin Fields, he's been good. The Jets, other than that, have struggled. But I don't know how the Cowboys are going to be able to get consistent stops on the Jets. And I think Justin Fields with Garrett Wilson, they're going to score. And I think that these upsets are hard to find. I'm taking a bold move. I'm going with the Jets to beat the Cowboys. And I know it's weird. I'm picking a division rival to beat a family team, which is, again, my dad's a Cowboy fan. My uncle is a Cowboy fan. My cousins are Cowboy fans. And I'm taking my division rival. Why? Because the Jets got to win a game somewhere. And this might be a game where people go, nah, Dallas is a better team. But I'm like, Jets been competitive through 4 games. Yes, Dallas has been, but Dallas got blown out in Chicago. And Lamb got hurt that game, yes. But are you that certain that this is going to be a game that Dallas convincingly wins? I'm not. I like the Jets to 2.5 points. So I'm going with the Jets to beat the Dallas Cowboys 27-24. And no, I'm not going to guarantee it because it's such a weird game. But I take the over, and I'm taking the 2.5 with the Jets. I think the Jets are going to score with them, and I think the Jets are going to win against the Cowboys 27-24. Not guaranteeing it, though, but I almost want to. All right, Broncos travel to Philly to take on the Eagles. Eagles are 3.5-point favorites. Over and under is listed at 43.5 points. This is the one game I say take the under because I think that the Eagles, this is what the doctor ordered. Yes, they haven't looked pretty through 4 games. They're 4-0 at the end of the day. Denver, off a short week, has to travel cross-country to Philly. After that, they got to get on a plane to London after and play the Jets. So the Eagles are like, okay, we're home. They have to travel twice to Philly and then get on a plane to London. Yes, Denver's defense is really good. Bo Nix has played better since game 1. But the Eagles, they somehow find ways to win. And I want to take Denver so bad, but I can't do it. I think Jalen Hurts and company, they'll get right. They haven't ran the ball well. They haven't thrown the ball well. Well, how are they going to win? I think their defense gets after Bo Nix. They capitalize on a mistake. I think that Eagles offense will do just enough. I would take the under 43.5 because I think both defenses are going to play a big role. I like the Eagles to win by 4, 20-16 over the Broncos. And I think defensive game, I think Bo Nix makes a turnover that's going to separate the game. Eagles cash in on it. That's your deciding factor. Eagles 20-16. And yes, I'm taking another. I'll throw you guys another player prop I like. Saquon Barkley, under in rushing yards again. Denver's defense is going to be stout against the run. Tampa, I took it. I took it the week before against the Rams. I'm doing it again. 3 times the charm. Barkley, under rushing yards in this matchup. And I'm doing it against Denver. So give me the Eagles to win. Barkley under rushing yards and under 43.5 points. I like that in this game. Now we go to Texans traveling to Baltimore, where the Texans are 2.5-point favorites. Rich, what injuries happened to the Ravens? Why are the Ravens getting 2.5 points? Lamar Jackson's probably out this week, probably 2 to 3 weeks from what I'm hearing. Roquan Smith's banged up. He's out for a couple weeks. Marlon Humphrey supposedly is out for the season, although I feel like he was supposed to miss some time. He is. They are hammered up front, like with injuries, and it's bad. Although this line smells, I'm not going to lie. I don't know why I want to take the Ravens with the points because everybody's saying Baltimore's not a good football team. They suck. They're broken. And I'm like, yeah, but the Texans' O-line has not been great either. What have you seen to make them go 2.5-point favorites? Okay, Lamar being out, I understand that line being moved. And some key defensive guys out, but have you watched the Texans' offensive line? They didn't look great. Yes, Nico Collins is good. Yes, I know. I have Woody Barks, but still. 2.5-point favorites on the road in Baltimore? I feel like the line smells. I'm staying away from the total. I have the Texans winning by a field goal. Because I feel like at the end of the day, D'Amico's going to say, all right, if Lamar's out, which he is, let's load the box on Derrick Henry. Force the Ravens to get into 2nd and 3rd and long and let Cooper Rush beat you, who's been a solid backup over the years. And I feel like that if Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter can whoop that Texans offensive line, which has been bad this year, well, no, I'm saying Texans offensive line. The Ravens offensive line, who has been okay. I feel like if those two guys, Anderson and Hunter, can affect Cooper Rush, bottling up Derrick Henry in the running game, then it makes sense for the Texans to win. But I feel like the Ravens know the back's against the wall. You can't afford to go 1-4. If you go 1-4, you're not punting on the season, but it's looking like, okay, this is going to be a really, really down year for a team that has a stacked roster. And to be honest, they haven't quite done well since the Monday night game against the Lions. And it would be a really bad effect where that Buffalo game is almost kind of a psychology turning point. Even though they obliterated the Browns, which the Browns were bad and they were home for Cleveland, they haven't quite figured out what they are. And I feel like this Texans game, yes, they have some defensive guys out, but this is still a weird team. But again, I feel like this line is really, really, it smells. They want you to take the Ravens because the Ravens, people say, suck. I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take the Texans by a field goal, 26-23. I just trust C.J. Stroud to make right decisions. I think the Texans will exploit the Ravens' problems, and I think the Ravens are in trouble. I think they're going to be 1-4, and there's going to be some big discussions of, is it time to move on from John Harbaugh, which I don't think they will, but I feel like, again, the Ravens, they've got to get right. But no touch on anything in this game, other than I say the Texans win by a field goal. That's it. Dolphins travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Miami is a 1.5 favorite in Carolina. The over-and-under is listed at 45.5. I lean the over because I think Miami can light up Carolina. I do. Do I think they will? Likely. I don't think it'll go over. I would like to take the over. I'm not going to because I think the Dolphins, they'll look okay. And I think they'll score, but not to what people think. Although it wouldn't shock me if the game goes over. I got Miami 26-17 over Carolina. I think that Bryce Young, he'll be a little bit better than what he played against the Patriots. Tua, I'm not convinced everything's fixed and everybody's going to drink the Kool-Aid of, oh, Miami, see, they're a good team. No, they're not. No, they're not. Okay, Tyreek Hill's out. Jalen Waddle should be better. And I just think that Miami will have enough to get by this week. But don't bank on Miami being a good football team just yet. Don't. And they're not going to be. So Miami 26-17 over the Panthers. I think they'll get their running game going with Ollie Gordon. And I think Waddle will get a score. Carolina, they'll hang around, but not good enough to beat Miami. Dolphins win. Titans travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 7.5 points. Over and under is listed at 41.5. Yeah, Arizona handles them. I do. I think that Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., yes, they missed James Conner. They have the mini bye. The only two teams so far to lose off a mini bye this year have been the Chiefs. And I want to make sure I have this right. I'm going through it right now because so far all the teams with many buys, the only two losses have been the Chiefs and the Packers. Off a loss, the only team that's lost following a mini bye has been the Chiefs so far. And I'm counting that game in Brazil because it does count. Okay? So, when I factor those components in, this is the game the Cardinals should win. The Titans, Callahan looks like he might be done. Cam Ward is getting frustrated, saying stuff that a rookie quarterback that's supposed to be the leader of a franchise should not be saying. And Titans got to travel nearly across country to Arizona. Arizona doesn't have to move. They have a mini bye. They stay home. They should go off. Their defense should be making plays. I'm struggling to figure out what the Titans do well. I don't even think they know what they do well yet. Give me the Cardinals. Handily convince the Titans. 31-13. Cardinals win convincingly. Tampa Bay travels to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Seattle's 3.5-point favorites. Over and under is listed at 44.5. The Bucs' luck of winning close games at the last possible minute ran out last week. Seattle, mini bye, mentioned. Only the Packers and the Chiefs have lost following a mini bye so far this season. That's it. Seattle, I think, honestly, if they can go to 4-1, that's a big statement. Because yes, their win against Arizona was nice. Winning against Tampa at home, is a big deal. Because then we're talking about the Eagles, and I know Green Bay doesn't look great, but I would still put them, the Lions. We have Tampa in there, and we have the Rams. We would put Seattle over Tampa if Seattle were to win this ball game, because that defense has been playing pretty solid, and I think the Bucs will score, but I think Seattle's got enough to where their defense will make some stops on Baker, some key stops. I do think Sam Darnold has been playing pretty good football lately, and that gives them a chance. I think he'll make Todd Bowles pay with the blitz. Seattle wins 27-23 at home, and the Seahawks move to 4-1, and I think we're talking about Seattle as a possible team that could make a pretty surprising noise, maybe a surprise run in the NFC. With that defense playing much better, and that offense, they got some playmakers now that have made some plays. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker, and then we're looking at Cooper Kupp there as well. They've got some playmakers over there that have got the job done. And that defense, with that secondary playing a little bit better, they're young too. And again, they got dudes that fly to the football. Seattle wins 27-23. They cover the point spread. Lean the over if you want to. Let's go to Cincinnati, where the Lions travel to the Bengals to take on Cincinnati, where the Lions are favored by 10.5 points, the largest spread of the weekend. Whew. Wow. Over and under is listed at 49.5. Yep, I have that right. I wouldn't blame you for taking the Lions. I just feel like, though, this is a weird one. Like, I wouldn't touch this. I know the Bengals look bad, but 10.5? A home dog? I know Burrow's out. Yeah. But are you that convinced the Lions defense is that much better? Even through 4 games? Cleveland, they look good. And the Bears scored 20. The Ravens, when healthy, scored 20. And the Packers scored 20. You're going to tell me Jake Browning, who we all think sucks because he played Minnesota and Denver defenses, who arguably might be 2 of the top 10 defenses in the game right now? I don't think he's that bad. I think if they get blown out the way they have been, then it's bad. But I don't think it's no. I don't think he's that bad. I do think the Lions score 38 against the Bengals because their defense is awful. I do think the Bengals score nearly 20. I do think that the Lions will score. It's a 38-16 game. I think because Jake Browning, I feel like they're going to have to make him throw. And I'm curious what their defense comes up with to limit Chase, to limit Higgins. But I think the Lions offense is too much for that Bengals defense. And I feel like they're just going to wear them down through Gibbs and Montgomery. They'll get Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamison Williams going. And I think it's going to be too much. I do need Jared Goff to go off in fantasy this week. Give me the Lions to win convincingly over the Bengals. But I'm not touching anything over. Nothing. No, I'm not doing it. Washington Commanders travel to LA to take on the Chargers. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites. Over and under is listed at 47.5 points. This is the get-right game of the Chargers, with or without Jaden Daniels. I just think that the Commanders, they're not a bad team, but you're playing a team now that's upset that they lost to a team that was not good as they were in the Giants. And I think that the one thing that I think gives Washington a chance is that Jaden Daniels comes back. But again, first game back off injury, I don't know if you want to bank all of your chips into them getting right. You did see what they struggle with. Joe Alt is out for the Chargers for multiple weeks, so the Chargers are now down their 2 tackles. You got to find a way to get to Justin Herbert. The Giants were able to do it. Now can you? And Washington, that's your only way. Can you blitz Justin Herbert? The Giants were able to frustrate him last week. Now he's without both of his starting tackles. Well, you got a chance if you can get to Herbert. I don't think they will get him as much. Heavy field goal game, though. 27-19, Chargers beat the Commanders. Jaden's a little rusty. Jesse Minter's defense will make some plays. I do think that's going to help. And I think that Washington will be in it, but they won't be able to make the key plays. Chargers get right. They win 27-19 over the Commanders. They get right. Go to 4-1. My Patriots travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills, where the Bills are 8.5-point favorites. Over and unders listed at 49.5. I would take the over. I would. I have it right at over. I have, like, my score, you guys will be like, wow, Rich, you are nailing Vegas's predictions. Yeah, I do. But the only hope I have is Buffalo hasn't blown out anybody that we thought they would so far. They haven't blown out Miami. They haven't blown out the Saints. And they were huge, huge spreads, both of those games. They haven't even blown out the Jets. So you think, okay, are two things true in this case? Is New England better than we think? Or is Buffalo not as good as we think? I don't think either of that's true. I think Buffalo has a chance to kind of blow the doors off. And is this the game they could do it? Yes. I'm going to be non-biased. Guys, I would be shocked if this game is under 10 points. Meaning the Bills don't win by more than 10. I just don't see a scenario where the Bills don't win by 10. The only way I see it is if you somehow get to Josh Allen, which is hard to do. You make him turn the ball over at a high rate, which he doesn't do. And Drake May looks like a guy that he's been against the teams that he's looked really good against. Miami and Carolina. Which the Bills are a different defense than the Steelers, the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Panthers. The Bills are getting one of their corners back that hasn't played it in 4 games. So this is his first real action, Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. When I think of those components, if you're New England, the best thing you can do is get to Josh Allen. Do not let him escape the pocket. And you got to be able to turn the ball over on the defensive end, make Josh Allen make mistakes, and Drake May's got to cash. And I'll say one more thing on this. The Bills, they lose to New England when they least expect it from people. What do I mean by that? Well, last year's meetings, New England won in New England. New England lost in Buffalo by 3 last year. That was when Gerard Mayo was coach, and they had nothing to play for. Buffalo was playing for a 1 seed. And that was the game Josh Allen cost me my fantasy championship. That's how I remember. 2 years ago, nobody thought New England would win at Buffalo in Gillette. New England wins week 7 in Gillette. When we were supposed to be tanking for Caleb. But we got Drake May, so things look good now. I will say, can Patriots Twitter, can Patriots fans stop talking about Drake May for MVP? Please stop. Stop. I'm a real one. No. Now, if he outduels Josh Allen and wins, I am then going to have to go, I might have to eat my words here, but I don't think it's going to happen. See, I'm a real one, okay? I'm not Chiefs bandwagons where they fucking think, oh, we're back after beating the Ravens and the Giants. Do you see how both of them look right now? Are you really that back? Please. I'm not that lost, okay? I'm not that stupid. Now, if we beat Josh Allen with Drake May and he outduels him, I'm going to say this. After Monday night next week, and if that happens, if the Jaguars somehow beat you bandwagons, you're going to see me be insufferable. Meaning I would be gloating like Stephen A. does with the New York Knicks if that happens. But I'm a real one. I don't think it's going to happen. Bills win 30-20 over my Patriots. I just do not think our defense will stop Josh Allen. I don't think we're going to be able to get to him as well as we've been to other quarterbacks lately. And I feel like that he's going to make plays. I'm used to it. And I think that defense is going to get the key stops on May, and I feel like that's the difference. Maybe I'm underestimating my New England Patriots, but I'm sorry. The Bills win 30-20. I take the over as well in this game. Now Monday night, Chiefs travel to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Chiefs are favored by 3.5 points. Over and under is listed at 46.5. Number one, take the over. Love the over in this game. I think both Trevor Lawrence and Mahomes, they score. I think this is a game where both guys will be able to score. However, as bad as I want to take the Jaguars, as bad as I want the Jaguars to please win, so not only can I gloat on the bandwagons losing, but if my New England Patriots somehow pull an upset off, oh, that would be the greatest Monday night episode of Lounge Time history if that happened. But again, I'm not getting my hopes up because I'm not expecting May to outduel Josh Allen. I'm not expecting my Patriots to beat Buffalo. I'm not expecting the Jaguars to beat the Chiefs. I'm not going to do it. I'm not delusional. I'm not one of them cheap bandwagons that are delusional and think, oh, we're back because we beat the Ravens. Did you see how we smoked them? We beat the Giants. They're not good. See, Worthy's back. Our offense is going to be just fine. I'm not them. No, I'm not, okay? But I can't see a scenario where Jacksonville beats the Chiefs. I can't. I honestly can't. I just don't see them losing to the Jaguars. I don't. I think the Jaguars have been a good story so far through 4 games, and I said we need to be talking about them more. Travis Etienne looks pretty good. Somehow, some way, fucking Spags, man. He always takes away fucking the run. And Trevor Lawrence, he's been okay against the Chiefs. He's been great. When I factor that in, Worthy's back. Kelsey, they got a Monday night game. Rookie head coach, no. Chiefs win 30-24. Take the over. I think this points will be scored. Chiefs beat the Jaguars. So that's my NFL Week 6 picks. Now let's quickly go into Survivor this week. Before we go into Survivor, the guarantees I like, over 46.5, Chiefs Jaguars. Over 49.5, Patriots Bills. I'm going through quickly, guys. So far, I think I have two overs. I have, 3 with the Cowboys Jets, 4 Raiders Colts over. That's there. You know what? Throw the Jets in. The New York Jets are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Guarantee 5. There you go. That's my guarantees. All right. So, and if you want me to say the Bills guaranteed to beat the Patriots, well, then that's 6. Or the Chiefs beating the Jaguars, that's 7 too. There you go, lucky 7. Anyway, let's go to Survivor. So, all right, this is where you guys are going to be careful. All right, so far, smooth sailing on the SS Saile. With the Patriots last week, we cruised, and then I'm trying to not play Jeopardy music in my head while I'm thinking about who the other team I had was. Damn it, it's happening. It will occur to me pretty soon. But it was a little bit of a sweat, though. Who do I like this week? Oh, it was Buffalo. Yeah, that's who it was. 2 teams playing on Sunday Night Football. What's wrong with me, Rich? Let me say this carefully. All right? So, if you did not take the Cardinals this week, so far this season, this is the game to do it. And this is your best shot left because I don't think there's a winnable game for them other than this game right now. Now, you're like, Rich, you picked the Cardinals in several other weeks. How are you still picking them? Well, I'm saying it for other people that have the Cardinals still alive in pools, that they didn't take the Cardinals in the first 4 weeks, which has happened. Okay? Now, for me, I started with 3 pools, as you guys know. All right? We got knocked out in one of them, the 3rd pool. I have the Cardinals left in 1 pool. And see, with me, I see, okay, can I have a chance to take this game later with this team? Yes. That's why I had 1 pool with the Saints, and that pool's still alive. I had them with Carolina. That was the pool I got knocked out. So I got 1 left. I can take them. And it's this week. Cardinals beat the Titans. I think this is the winnable game left on their schedule. If they can't beat the Titans, it's bad. It's bad. I do think Cardinals would be the top choice this week. They would be my number 1 choice. My number 2. And this week's crappy. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the segment. This is a very tough segment to pick. So I think if you get out of this week, you have a very good chance to make it through the year if you pick smart. Number 2, I have the Colts over the Raiders. I think the Colts There's one game that's about maybe a winnable game for them the rest of the way that I think would be a good pick for them. That's me. And that's the Titans in Indianapolis. However, I do think this is a game they could beat the Raiders. The one thing that scares me is Pete Carroll. Because Pete Carroll, I just get worried because he's a great coach that somehow can beat a team when you least expect it. Okay? Even when they're bad at 1-4 or 1-3. I'm about to cry on 1-4. Don't do that, Rich. I just think the Colts, they've been playing good ball. And when Pete Carroll sees they lose to the Rams, he's going, okay, guys, we have a shot if we do what the Rams did. So that's my one worry. I like the Colts because I think this is one of the games you can take them. If you have multiple pools, I would take the Colts in one of them. All right? Because there's one game the Colts can win left, I think that's winnable on their schedule. That's winnable. That's the Titans in Indianapolis later in the season, which they do happen to play. So I would wait for them. But if you have multiple pools, take the Colts. My third pick, my third strongest pick. If you did not take them last week as well, I had the Lions. Because the Lions in Cincy, I don't love them this week. But if you want to take the Lions, I don't blame you. I would advise this to you. I would wait. Because they play the Giants at home and the Cowboys at home. In my opinion, those are better games. Even the Vikings to a degree. But I wouldn't love them taking over the Vikings just yet. I would say to you, if you want the Lions and you don't like their remaining games left, okay, I understand them, take them. I wouldn't because I think there's games later down the road that I like the Lions in. So, I'm going to take, my two choices would be the Cardinals and the Colts. The Lions would be my third choice. That's me, though. But if you want to take the Lions, I'm not knocking you for it. Now my tier 2. This is where you see teams that can win, and you don't like their remaining schedules, but they're more of a little bit of a risk-reward type scenario. The Rams are one of them. I would say to you, and I looked the Rams up schedule-wise before I went on to record today, they have a game where they play the Panthers at home. I would wait for them, that game. I would. I would wait that game because I think the Rams can beat the Panthers at home, and I would wait for the Rams. But if you really, really like this week with the Niners injuries, I definitely think it's a great cash-in. As far as you want to cash in off the Niners injuries, do it. I will warn you, Shanahan has a weird way of owning McVays. That's why I'm a little skeptical of taking the Rams in Survivor. I'd wait. Somebody I know is taking them. I wouldn't do it. I would also take, and I'm reading my handwriting, I would take a chance at Miami against Carolina. I don't love it. Again, I know it's a winnable game for Miami. I wouldn't do that yet because remember the last time I told you to pick against Carolina at home? Atlanta lost. I say I don't love it, but if you want to take Miami because you feel like you want to get a shit team out of the way and then pick the good ones later, okay. I would advise you don't do it, but I can't fault you if you want to take a stab at it. I wouldn't do it. I would not take a stab quite much at the Giants and the Texans as road favorites. Why? The Saints are due for a win, and the Ravens, I feel like a lot of people are writing off too early. I know the Ravens are banged up with injuries, but Texans, you can maybe get a game that you might like later. And the Giants, I don't quite trust the Giants to be worthy of a Survivor pick. That's me, though. So my tier 1, Cardinals, Colts, Lions would be my top 3 choices for the week. Easily. Cardinals, if you haven't used them, would be 1. Colts would be 2. Lions would be 3. Tier 2, I put the Rams, and then I would put a combo of Miami, Giants, Texans in that order. I would say the Rams would be the top tier 2 choice. If you want to take the Rams and you feel like, okay, I want to cash in with the Niners being out, they're a good choice, I would take the Rams. That's me, though. They would be a tier 2 choice. I wouldn't take them over the top 3 I just said. So, that is the NFL Week 5 picks, guarantees, and Survivor picks. And that is our College Football Week 6 picks. Make sure to follow us on X. Make sure you follow me at Lunchtime Pod. I actually will tweet out during the game. I usually post episodes on there as well. So yes, I do tweet during games. And I happen to be willing to take questions if you guys have any for me. I have no problem answering them on the show. You can also follow me on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow as a channel, helps us grow within the community. And hey, if you want more episodes of me, it would really help. All right. You can also follow us on Rumble. I don't know why I'm having trouble with uploading episodes on Rumble. I'm going to see what the problem is. But once I get that figured out, I should have episodes rolling in. But make sure you follow us on Rumble. All right. We're trying to grow a fan base there as well. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in last time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys after the Chiefs-Jaguars on Monday night to recap that game along with the other NFL action. And I will see you guys following Monday night. Enjoy your college football and NFL weekend, everybody. And I'll see you guys following the Monday Night Football game.